Looks like we are refreshing. All right, so we're live. I'm now live for 9 seconds. Hey guys, welcome to the Cherokee Turner live stream. I'm Cherokee Turner. So what we're going to be doing today is the same thing we were doing a couple days ago. We are going to be compositing a cool looking monster into our scene. I've already done this for a project again, but I want to do something a little bit different, try something that takes much longer to do, and I want to do to bring you along for my journey. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today. I hope you enjoy the stream. If you hear the music in the background and it's too loud, please let me know. And I don't think it's going on. Hold on, let's see. Turn it up just a little bit. There we go. That way you can hear it just a smidgen better. All right. But if you enjoyed this live stream, please let me know. Also, like and subscribe, share, hit that notification bell if you're on YouTube. Like me on Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff's in the description. But we're going to go ahead and just jump right into this now that it's been a minute. I usually try to stick on here for about an hour, have a short discussion, and then we kind of move on. All right, so here we are back in Photoshop. I'm going to move back down to my third screen here, not that one. Here we go. All right, and I'm gonna leave, actually, let's leave this up. I'm also rendering something in Cinema 4D, so if you can see that, congratulations, you can see that. But here we are in Photoshop. I think you can see everything I'm going on. Yep, all right, we're good to go. All right, so what we're gonna be doing is I've got her cropped out. So just to show you what we've got going on, we've got her cropped out, we've got him, and all this stuff just kind of layered on together. So if I put that up, we've got individual layers. So what I'm going to be doing is basically taking her out of the picture partially. That way I can blur out this background completely. So I'm creating what's called a clean plate. That way I can further expand on this. All right, so here we go. We are going to take out some balloons and her. So here we go. So I am using the clone stamp tool. A lot of this is just a ton of cloning. And I'm not going to be too accurate on this one. Reason why is really all I'm looking for is the texture. Since virtually everything behind here, everything is going, like, she's not going anywhere. What I'm doing is creating the texture that will allow the lens effect to do its job properly, which is which I'm going to be using not Gaussian blur, but the lens blur in Photoshop to make it look as if this is a realistic background. And my computer might be a smidgen slow. Right now I'm rendering out a Bitcoin animation, so that's gonna take a little bit. I was hoping it'd be done by tonight, but it is not. And that is okay. That is okay, we're gonna deal. If you're just joining us, we do have, and you want to check out the previous stream, that is available. You just go into my videos under the live stream tab and you can find that. This is going to be a whole series. I'm hoping it's going to be at least 5 parts, but I'm hoping it doesn't go over that. But this is there's a lot to do, so I would not be surprised if it goes over 5. Compositing takes time, and I try to do it in little hour bursts, just so nobody gets too bored. I know how that is, but I got some music going, so I hope you enjoy the music. think I'm going to go to the casino after this. That sounds like a whole lot of fun. Since I am fully vaccinated, and hopefully you're getting vaccinated too, I'm going to try to do some normal stuff, some stuff I used to do tonight. How's everybody's weekend going? Well, I guess start to the weekend, more like it. Hope everybody is going to be good. Jesus Christ. I can already tell that this is gonna be a much slower process just because I'm rendering something in the background. Not sure why that happened. Oh, I gotta sneeze. Ay, ay, ay. I sneezed. That's going to be good. Not too worried about that. It doesn't have to be perfect. And again, I'm trying to do this as non-destructive as possible. So I created, instead of just cloning out the layer, I've created a backdrop so I can literally just press this and it comes back. It's pretty easily done. All you have to do is set it up that way. That looked awful. This I'm mostly worried about, so I got to be pretty on point with this one because the blur is going to blur out over that, and I believe it'll catch a lot of the skin on her, so I want to make sure to get it real good. And I believe on this live stream, I won't have my vacuum interrupt us this time. My first live stream in a year, my vacuum turns on like the minute I start a live stream. That's how life is. Oh my gosh, come on. I think I need a new CPU if I'm going to be doing all this stuff all at the same time. I'm actually currently running a Ryzen 24-thread computer, and I've been using it all throughout the pandemic. And the further I get into the pandemic, it's like, you know what? I think I need a bigger, better computer because I've been doing way more stuff all at the same time. And that's a weird thing to think about because I just bought this computer. It's a year old, so the CPU is like barely used. So I think I need to upgrade. That, so now we got the string out of there, and her hand, which is really creepy. Feel free to join me in the chat room. I would love to hear from you guys. I don't know if anybody does or not. I'm still trying to get used to this whole Streamlabs thing. And so if anybody wants to know, I am using a Huion pen display tablet to help me cut out all this stuff. It's easier. I believe it's easier to be able to have the intuitive way of cropping out all this stuff. Come on. If anybody's out there in Twitch land, I would love to see if this is working or not. So if it's working, someone please tell me something. Never been on Twitch. I think I've done one video for Twitch, so I'm doing this multi-live stream thing, so it'd be cool to know if it is actually working. From time to time, I do get people asking whether or not I took a what's called a clean plate of this, and no, I did not. We only had a very short amount of time to get this done in, and I was not on a tripod. I was freehanding the whole thing to try to keep time. So freehanding it as well as lining it with a softbox to try to get the most realistic as well as produced look possible was a bit of a challenge. Bigger, fluffier stuff, I can move on to a bigger pen. Yeah, I'm actually just gonna go ahead and do this right here. That's not what I wanted. Okay, same on here. And again, the biggest thing, what I'm looking to get out of this isn't texture, it is literally just color. That way I can push it to be able to get this thing blurred out correctly. Well, this is going to be a bit of a challenge. Let's do one of these. Maybe that'll work. Sweet. Just about finished. And then we can get to the fun stuff. Re-rendered the monster to a better look, or better angled look. It still looks the same, but it's got a better angle on it, so it looks a little bit more realistic to the scene. Yeah, eventually just end up taking her completely out. But I do want to keep that shadow. That's for sure. Oh, this is where it's going to get difficult. Okay, hold on. Do this. You know, I might just go ahead and just take it completely. Alright, I've taken that out a lot. Let's see here. Alright, I need to work on the face. This region. it's gonna want to close out on me, I guarantee. It's probably like, stop using me. I'm constantly using my computer. Constantly on it. Which is good, because it was a $3,000 investment. So it's gotta be used. Alright, let's do this. It's not what I wanted. Oh, that worked out perfect. That worked perfectly. Yes. Do this, just continue on up. Yes. Do that. I can do one of these. Nope. Just looking at texture, not too worried about reality at the moment, just looking at texture. up having to do way more than I thought, but that is how it goes. And that's okay. That's what we're about on this channel. Realism. Make this thing look as good as we can possibly get it. And if that's what it takes, then that is what it takes. All right. I think this is going to be good. Yeah, I think we're good. Cool. All right, so with both these turned on, we have successfully created something, a backplate. So that's what we've done. We've done a backplate. So now that we've got that set up, I'm going to put this all into a folder. I'm just going to call this Backplate. I'm going to duplicate that. Turn that one off. Convert to a smart object. I'm going to get my little pinwheels up here, and I'm going to be drinking some water, which I'm drinking this water called Liquid Death, which is kind of awesome. It's water from the Alps, apparently. And I bought it from liquiddeath.com, but I didn't realize that you can just get it at Whole Foods. So that's kind of interesting. All right, so we've got the backplate. All right, cool. So next up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find my little dude. I'm going to drag him over here, my new dude. All right, where is he? Monster 3D renders. Here we are. Questioning live stream. There we are. Pull him down. He's going to be like, but I want the little thingy. I want the balloon. I require it. All right, so what that's going to look like is this. So right off the bat, we've got some issues. So I like the way he looks. I know I'm going to have to recreate some depth with him, so I might have to cut out this leg and do something a little different. I don't know. I might have to do that. I could have rendered him out differently, but I didn't really want to. I'm going to have to address some skin folds here that the render brought over, as well as relight him. So, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to worry about my backplate first. So, since I've created the smart object, which is my backplate right here, I'm going to go ahead and run this through the ringer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the blur gallery tilt shift function. All right, so what the tilt shift allows you to do is it allows you, oh man, this is going to take forever. Hold up. It allows you to create depth of field where it wasn't. So, and that's exactly what I want it to do. So, I know I want horizon line to be like that. No, I want a little closer. I want it to look as if I took this picture on a 50mm lens. And I know I can get that by utilizing this step. but it's really all about, so since this is a flat shot, which thankfully that's how I shot it flat like this. Alright, so that technically I want to create one right here as well. There. Bring this in. Pull this out like that. I'm going to do the same thing over here. That way I can kind of create this kind of depth, like it's pulling in, because technically this shouldn't be too crazy. Shouldn't be too crazy. Go ahead and pull this back up right here. Bring this around. I also want to create a little bit slant. Pull this back out. Out and get it to a look that I kind of like here. So where's this? I like the idea of this. Alright, so let's do distortion. Let's just blur all the way up. Yeah, that's how it looks. That's way too much. So I want to mimic what this would look like on a 50 millimeter, because this was taken on an 18 millimeter, and it's just not enough. Pull this out a little bit more. This is too much. This needs to be done a lot. Things are too in focus. It's not where I want my focus to be. Too in focus still. Just need to drop that up just a wee bit in the hammer. So, smidgen. That's looking a little bit better. That looks alright. Alright, that looks a little better. Just a smidgen. Bringing that dreamy-ish look. Where's my other... I have to do this again. Pull this up. I want to pull this just a bit. Bring this back down. So the idea is to create a plane. So everything in this plane is going to be in focus. And I want to probably pull this plane back up just a smidgen. That way at least his face will be in focus. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. All right, I'm going to pull up the blur just a little bit more. So the idea is just to make this look just dreamy, okay? So what's cool about this is, so I have her in a backdrop layer and her hair is still kind of there, and I'm going to bring in some of this hair as well. So all of this is going to be brought back in. So she is now tack sharp, but I'm going to bring in her hair, and we're going to bring in some cool stuff that will allow to give this a little bit more extra texture, but that's going to be on another day. All right, so now let's do, oh, my light turned off. Okay. Let's focus on the bokeh. So in every shot, there is some bokeh. So let's see what we can do about getting our bokeh fix. remember seeing this tutorial. They're like, well, you want to bring up your bokeh all the way. You want to make it like this, and blah, 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 blah. So maybe I can get it there. Bring it down. Kind of works. Again, the idea isn't to focus on something that is absolutely real, but to give it a dreamy look. So let's just test some stuff out, and maybe we'll get a better look with some of the seismic distortion. Maybe we won't. That looks kind of cool. Let's see. Spin, path blur, don't want any of that. Motion effects, don't need any of that. Okay, I think this is good. Let's turn on high quality. I want high quality. Okay. Awesome. All right, we got our blur moving in. It's on another layer here. All right, there we go. All right, so we've got our blur effects. So there is that. And we're going to do the same thing on our monster here. But first, let's relight our monster, okay? So just so you can kind of see how this is affecting. So here is my daughter, and we're also going to mess around with some of this. That way we can kind of cut her out, blend her in a smidgen better. And we're also going to relight her, relight this, and pull it all back together. But I think this looks pretty good. This looks fairly realistic. We've got a really nice fall off going on here. We've got a little bit of distortion in the background. We've got the edges distorted nicely with how it probably should look. I think we're good to go with our next step. So before and after, real quick, just turn this on. So here's after, and that's before. So a lot less going on in the background, more focus on what's going on right here in the middle of our composition. Okay, so let's go ahead and push this dude into a monster group. I'm gonna pull him into our group. That way we know where all of our stuff is, because there's gonna be a lot of stuff going on, and I wanna make sure all my layers are correctly being portrayed. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and up my exposure on this little dude, because he is a wee bit dark for our scene. And if you notice, I did an adjustment layer, but now it's making an overall adjustment into our scene. And obviously I don't want that, so I'll create a clipping mask and pop that guy down. And that's only going to adjust our brightness on our man here. Or woman. I don't know if it's a man or woman. I see I see no genitalia, so it could be anything. It could be a man, it could be a woman, it could be whatever you want him to be, or her. So there we go. Now the thing that I really want to try to focus on is the gamma. So the gamma, you see where our black points are? There's all the way black right here, okay? We don't want that. Our darkest dark is right here. That's our darkest point. There is no absolute black in this. And if there's an absolute black on our subject that we are adding in, we want to make sure to correct for that. So we are going to have to pull our gamma down a bit. There, and there are some dark spots, but I think for what we're going to do next, it's going to kind of compensate for that. And there's a lot more to do. So this is just overall setup. I want to turn my exposure down just a smidgen more. Pull up my offset again. This is just a delicate balancing act of tried and true testing and re-exposing, testing and re-exposing. And the unfortunate thing is on all of my layers that I have here, I'm working in 16-bit Photoshop. So the 3D model that I'm working with right here, the export I did in 16-bit. So I have the availability of color. I also rendered him out in what do they call it? At 300 DPI. So everything matches. It's all about matching the lighting, and the lighting that I had actually matches everything up pretty nicely. So I think that is good there. Next, I want to match him on a color scale. So we've got a little bit more warmer tones. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in or take out a little bit of red. And again, I want to make sure that clipping mask is on. That way we're only focusing on our dude here. Nope, I don't want RGB. That was the last thing I wanted. Focus on red. And again, my computer is a little slow today because I'm rendering this big old Bitcoin animation. We'll bring out the lip, put a little bit more red. There we go. That's looking kind of good. Let's bring in some of these yellow hues. So we'll go into blue. Take out a little bit of blue. That's looking pretty good. All right, we're at about 42-minute mark. I'll probably work on this a little bit more, and then I'll start the bulk of this probably tomorrow. All right, so there's that. Let's see here. Now, one of the things I do want to try to do is kind of see what I can do as a relight. So there's this filter called Field Blur. Not that one, blur. Field Blur. And what it does is it tries to match the blur of everything else that's going on. So obviously I want to point here, and at this point, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. This is blurred at 0. So I know I want this to be 0. And on this same plane, I'm going to want this 0. Oh, that's going to take forever. All right, so that 0. I want this up here, though. I want to be like 1. Because I want it to be as if you can see it going into the distance. Maybe 2. Yeah, nothing crazy. And then this is also in the distance, so I want this to be 1. And honestly, I should have done this in Cinema 4D whenever I rendered it out, but I didn't know what I wanted my bokeh to look like, and I probably could do this, but I'm gonna focus on this dude right here. So that's 2, and this 2 as well. 2. This right here, right next to it, is going to be 1. So that way it gives off the effect of, hey, this is in our background. Because you can notice we've got a very little blur here. So all this down here on the bottom, it's going to be 2. 0. And all of these things you can change. So since we have this on a smart object layer, all of this can change. So again, this one will also be at 0. I might actually change this one down a bit. Let's bring this because it's just on the edge of being blurry. So let's do 5. See how that works. It's a bit much. Maybe split the difference a bit. Because that technically goes up. So if that's a 3 and this is a 2, that should work just fine. Alright, cool. And that's sharp. That's sharp. I want to maybe do this as a 4. So it kind of makes it look like he is getting drifted into the background a little bit. And then we'll put this right here as a 0. This right here, I know I want to be 0, so I want to make sure that that is set to 0 no matter what. Awesome. Cool. So you might think, well, that didn't really do a whole lot. It does and it doesn't. So the main thing that it does is it just gives a little bit more visual interest into what's going on. So it's just, so this is going to be a 16 by 20 photograph. So at its biggest point, I'll be able to see this. So right here, this is the biggest point. And this, if you know 16 by 20, 16 by 20 is pretty big. So whenever you look at it, you'll be able to see the detail, and you'll see that that is going in and out of focus like it should be going in and out of focus. And the same thing with here. Nothing has an absolute sharp point other than right here. And that should have a sharp point because this is where our focus is the grasping of the balloon, and that should be our focus anyway. So yeah, that's what's happening. And I might do a little bit more work on this and maybe blur this out just a smidgen, because that's a little too sharp for my liking. Okay, so we've got that, we've got it colored. Let's work on some shadows. So one thing that I like doing with shadows is, let's pull this up, pull this down, is I try to find a spot that has around the same amount of texture and create the shadow with something that has an already shadowed layer. So basically for the feet, so we've got a spot right here. The feet would be about right here like this, and it would go along and into this shadow. So that's what I'm going to create, is basically use the clone stamp, find a spot like right here, and just pull that shadow in with that clone stamp. Same thing back here. Same thing here. Nope. probably thinking there's a big old body right here, but yep, there is a big body, but technically you're probably only going to see this massive big body about right through here. You're probably going to see that about right here, but I'm not going to be too worried about it. If I want to put that in there, I might do that later. I don't feel like doing that right now. I want to focus on this part, so I'm going to fix the little notches in his skin right here. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this up. And again, I'm going to use the healing brush. I think that's going to be a little better for this situation. That way it has the same overall tone. That is not what I want. I want this here. Hello. There we go. Fix that texture issue. Texture issue. Texture issue. Nope. Back up. There we go. All right, do I have any other weird folds? Doesn't look like it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be the end of the stream. I'm going to cut it off right here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to save. That is not what I want to do. Saving. Everyone, thank you so much for hanging out with me on this stream. I really enjoy it. Hope you enjoyed it too. Make sure to like and subscribe to my channel here on YouTube. Hit that notification bell. As well as like me on Facebook at facebook.com/avidproductions479. You'll be able to see all the links and all that stuff in the description below. Check me out on Instagram at Cherokee_Turner. Again, like, subscribe, comment below. Let me know what you guys like to see, what you want to see in the future. And I hope you're enjoying the stream thus far. We've got a lot left to go. We're going to be recoloring the entire image. We're going to be adding hair. We're going to be more than likely adding a big old shadow down here for the realism. We're going to be adding texture and grain and all that stuff. More than likely it's going to be a 4 or 5 parter. So again, thank you all for watching.